making a notable contribution to the world. This is what they're feeling. And there's a reason that we're making them feel that way. Desire for suicide. I usually say that rarely do I ever meet a child that wants to die. Today I met a few. I'm really impressed with your school. I asked Miss Amy, your superintendent, those a couple of you social workers, did we do the right thing? Because every school is different. And the school is concerned about the safety of the child, the safety of all of our kids and staff. And for many schools, it's when there's suicidal ideation, well, okay, look, we need to send the kid to the hospital. And the kids I got to meet today were afraid when we had to call the parents in, because they were afraid to disappoint them. They were afraid that they were making them go out of their comfort zone. They were interrupting their day. And then what was really awesome is when the parents did come. I thought the parents were incredible. I thought the kids and the parents, we got to talk. It was awesome. But it shouldn't take this for us to know what our kids are going through. And for all the kids I got to talk to, are your parents aware? And so we made the decision that here's the right thing. If I send the child to the hospital, then in Florida we call it Baker acting them. I'm going to involuntarily Baker act them. They're going to go to a hospital. Here's what happens. They go to a hospital, they sit for about 6 hours before they can get seen by somebody. When they finally get seen by somebody, they're going to be evaluated by somebody. 85% of them do not know how to properly do a suicide assessment. So we're taking them out of their comfort zone and we're pushing them off, making things worse because their anxiety rises. And then they sit in some hospital, they call it a mental psych ward, for 5 or 7 days, and things are worse. And there's no responsibility on the facility after that when they get discharged, what's the recovery plan? I don't know. And then you don't have a responsibility to come to the school to say, here's what we did. Here's our plan moving forward. And so the decision that we made today was, I'm going to call the parents, and I'll be happy to talk to the parents with you. And it was unbelievable. And we made the decision that I don't think you're suicidal. I think you want this pain to end, and we're going to help figure that out. And we came up with a safety plan, a success plan. The child was on it, parents were on it, the counselors were on it, the school's on it. So within 2 hours, we gave the child and the family and the school what they needed, where typically it takes about 7 days. It was pretty awesome. I don't think too many people want to die. They want the pain to end. But they only know what they know. They don't know what they don't know. Think about it. Our kids only know that you put a card in, money comes out. You send a text, you respond. You post a selfie in Ussie, you get a likey. Everything is in the here and the now to them. But life is not in the here and the now. How can we teach our kids about patience in the process, patience in the journey? I'd like to encourage you. I'm not going to be a fan favorite when I say this. Cell phone free Sundays. You ever take your phone away from your child? It's like taking candy from a baby. First 24 hours, it's a nightmare. You want to put a pen in your head. Then 24 hours later, your kid's like, Mom, let's bake. And you're like, when you take the device away and give them a timeout, at first they don't know what to do. They're losing their mind. And then all of a sudden it's like, kids don't have off time. 24/7, 365, they're on. How can we teach them balance and boundaries? But we can't expect them to do what we're unwilling to do of ourselves. I heard kids today look at their parents and say, Mom, like, you're always on your phone. Here's what concerns me though. I'm alone, I'm a disappointment burden, the desire. But in the middle, where all these circles intersect, that's what concerns me, self-harm. All the kids I met with today, self-harm. So what is self-harm? Many of us know cutting, burning, punching yourself, scratching, pulling your hair, reckless behavior, self-medicating. Self-medicating. I asked law enforcement, meth, heroin, what are you most concerned about? Pot. Vaping. Kids do their research, and what you read on the internet is true. Vaping is safe, they think. And then all of a sudden they get caught up and they're an athlete and they start to realize that they don't have the stamina, like, I gotta get off this stuff. And then they come to find out they're addicted to it and it's hard to get off of. And our kids don't understand, I mean, why should they? You're not dealing with it every day. But you know what's happening in America today? The cartels coming right through our country and then infiltrating our cities. They're setting up shop. You don't even see them. Because the ones that are selling the drugs are not the ones who have the drugs. It's unbelievable how it's operating. And so we've got this drug called fentanyl today. Fentanyl is like 50 times more potent than morphine. And you got carfentany, which is 100 times more potent than fentanyl, which is more potent than morphine. It's like supply and demand. I want to make my product better than your product. Because if my product is better and you get a better high, you're going to keep buying from me. And so what they do, they lace it with this fentanyl. It's like the lead of a pencil. That much you can overdose. You know how many kids I meet that took their first drug in school? English class. How many kids I meet that when they said that they took that first pill, they knew? You know how many kids I meet that get pregnant in school? Kids don't understand. I know kids who lost parents because the pod blew up. Parents are dead. I've heard stories of kids, the pod blew up, the kid's dead. It's 2 seconds to make a bad choice, it takes 30 years to recover. Self-harm. You know why kids self-harm? They want control. They want to feel. It's when a child doesn't want to feel that I get concerned about. I call that growing up dead. And so I'm going to tell you, if your child is self-harming, I like that. Let me rephrase that. If the newspaper's here, please hear what I'm saying. Because people have a way of twisting words. When your child comes to me and they're telling me they're self-harming, they're asking for help. Now, if I react, they're going to pull back. If your child is self-harming, if they're cutting, if you see what they're doing, that's when you need to sit down. Give them a hug. Because they're asking for help, they just don't know how. And if you react and get angry, they are not going to come to you at all. That's the moment when you need to just honey, it's going to be okay. How can I listen to what's on your heart? And maybe not even say anything that night. Tomorrow, maybe. Call the school counselor. Oh no, Judge, we don't need the school knowing our business. Stop. The school's got resources. And if you're concerned about your reputation more than your child's well-being, maybe you're part of the problem. I'm telling you, every child and teacher in the school, our community, we're hurting. We're struggling in some way. And so if you know that your child is reaching out, that's not where you react. That's where you realize it's not about me. And you do what you can to help them because they need the help. They need your support. They need your understanding. They need your compassion. They need your grace. They need you to tell them, honey, I love you. A lot of kids are feeling it. Now, men are 4 times more likely to complete the act of suicide. But women are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide. Let me share with you how this happens. Women are more emotional. They're like computer processors. They process things. Men, bam, it's fixed. Men don't talk about feelings because we're macho, we're tough, it's a weakness. That's part of the problem. How can we let our kids know that talking about feelings is not a bad thing? I got a friend, Dr. Alex Crosby, Center for Disease Control and Prevention. White males, 45 to 60 years old. That's our #1 statistic, suicide. So the CDC decided to do some research. The research they did of these white men, 45 to 60, that ended their lives by suicide, they took the brain and they realized that their adolescent years, they had all this trauma that was never dealt with. You know, you think about when we were growing up, you don't talk about it, you can grind through it, suck it up, don't be weak. And so we go through life, and day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. Our obligations get bigger, our responsibilities are greater. We have no coping skills, we have no problem-solving skills. So they make a forever decision based on reaction. Typically, men will make that forever decision using a firearm. Unless it's the military, women, guns too, military. Women typically, strangulation or overdose. And so here's what happens. Women get to that point where they start to think, where? What am I going to do? Who's going to find me? What am I going to be wearing? I got to write letters. And as they start to process this, they're automatically putting time between a thought and an action. Men, lack of coping skills, problem-solving skills. Anger, emotion, reaction, boom. I said to the kids, remember the I over the E, never the E over the I. Intellect over emotion. Never emotion over intellect. Don't react on emotion. I don't think people want to die. They want to find a solution to their problems, but in the here and the now. Said that. Suicide is the most preventable form of death. Permanent action, temporary problem. Talked about this a little bit. Danger zone, 4 to 5 hours. Safe zone, I don't know. 2, 3 hours. If your kid is spending too much time on their device, you know. So just have a conversation. I love this. You ever go out to dinner? You see a family, and their 2-year-old, 3-year-old, they have a device. And they give them the iPad or tablet. Say, here, kid, this will shut you up. It shuts them up now. I'm concerned the next 15, 20 years. Because you know what's happening? For us that are using these devices as a babysitter, it's now putting us in a position where we have to react on the back end and do what we should have done on the front end. Parent. And you can't go home tonight and be like, hey, honey, wake up. I went to see that fat bald guy. I told him to see that. Hey, we need to talk. Things about to change tonight. You can't start parenting a 16-year-old tonight. But you can start working and having a conversation. Talking to them. Not being their friend, but being that significant adult that they need in their life. Dr. Phil says, and whatever Dr. Phil says is true, I think. Dr. Phil says the most significant person in a child's life is that same-sex parent. So I say that too. I like this. Connect the dots. Thoughts, feelings, behavior. Elementary. I drew this. Situation. I don't know. Bad, good. But through all situations, now we have thoughts. Good thoughts, bad thoughts. I often think if you think you can make the shot, chances are you can make the shot. If you think she'll say yes, she'll say yes. If you think she won't, you're not even going to ask. And so as a result of these thoughts that we put in our head, now we have feelings. Oftentimes I think this is about self-esteem. I think it's about a mindset. Situation, thoughts, feelings. Now your behavior is a result of how you feel. You know what changes emotion? Motion. Motion changes emotion. So kick your kid out of the house and make him go outside and play. Remember when we were growing up, we'd come home from school, we'd change, get out of those nice white sneakers, pants, and we'd go outside and play kick the can, kick ball, climb the tree, climb the fence, beat up the neighbor. It was so much fun. Kids aren't playing anymore. Kids aren't learning social skills. How can we change it? It's called behavioral activation. Focuses on breaking the cycle of inactivity that keeps us unmotivated and stuck. Although grounded in evidence-based theory, BA is not therapy, it's practical skill building. Can I invite you, and if there's any medical professionals in the room tonight, thank you for coming. Keep your opinions to yourself because I don't care. Don't believe everything the doctor says. Second guess them. Ask more questions. Because I'm going to tell you when it comes to mental health, many medical professionals are more concerned about liability than they are the individual in front of them. I don't care about liability. Sue me. Whoa, what's that going to do? I don't have anything anyway that you need to know about. Change your thoughts, you'll change your life. I want you to trust in the medical professionals. I want you to trust in the process, but second guess them. Get a second opinion. Do your research. I had a parent came in today, and I had to have some choice words with the parent. And the parent told me, go right to the hospital. I said to the parent, you're very fixed on what you think is right. But I promise you, if you stay stuck on what you think is right, we're going to be having a whole different conversation in a month. I'm a huge fan of this parent, because the parent then shifted and realized that nothing changes if nothing changes. And so, to make a long story short, this had to happen. They had to go here. They came back to school later this evening. We're going to reconnect later. But the parent changed their stance and said, what do you need from me? How can I help you? We had an amazing conversation. Again, go back to Dr. Covey. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Situations, we talked about that. Thoughts, feelings, behaviors. Inactivity. They come home, they isolate themselves, they're miserable. Now they fall into like this depression. And I don't want to make light of this, but watch this. If you do more of what matters to you, but then this becomes self-reinforcing. Do more what matters to you. If it makes you happy, do it. You start to feel better. All of a sudden, you feel better. Do this, do more of it. Encourage your kids to do more of what makes them happy. Less kids are engaging in school activities. And so, why don't we let's take away all the activities. Your kids aren't participating, and then there's this uproar. You get rid of, our kids need this. Then encourage your kids to go out, even if your kid sucks. I think there's 3 things that our kids need. Number 1, sleep. They need 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep, and if your kid's ugly, they need more. Go back to, I'm not saying your kid's ugly. They're not getting enough sleep, their devices. Number 2, nutrition. More water, less soda. More protein, less carbs. Simple. And number 3, put the device down a little bit and get more involved. Life skills. Our devices become our connection to the world.